I've heard some pretty bad things about the Spira Prime, unfortunately. The blueprint itself comes from Tower 4 Mobile Defense. The blades, which you require two of, come from Tower 3 Mobile Defense. The blueprint was such a pain to get a hold of. I got so many former blueprints, though it kind of worked out. The pouches, however, are Tower 3 Capture, and they were pretty awkward to get a hold of, but not that bad. It seems the blueprint's the part of this that's the biggest pain in the butt to actually get a hold of. Costing only 8 Oracle cells, it's not that bad of a price to actually pay for these. Obviously, comparing it to the normal one, it's pretty weird. First off, orders is in the way, so the Prime one is on the right, the normal one is on the left. Now, everything I've seen from this so far says basically these things are a nerfed version of the normal one. But come on, visually, the pouches are so much better. They are ridiculously better. And the fact that they've got the motion on them, they look really nice. They've got hardly any slash. That has literally been slashed. It's got a little bit more puncture and a little bit less impact. It's got 10% status, slightly quicker reload, bigger magazine, much faster fire rate, and a lot less crit chance. So you can kind of see why people are saying this is just a nerfed version, because it's gone from 25% crit to 15. Kind of taking the crit build out of the equation for this thing, and status at 10% is also kind of out of the equation, so it is a huge shame for them. But it does come with 2V polarities, which is a huge bonus to this, but obviously it's going to need at least a dash on there to make it anywhere near useful. But it does look really nice, just the way it spins. But everybody's screaming out for this thing to be buffed because it seems to have less damage, but it's got higher DPS because it has a higher fire rate, so it's kind of evening out to be just ever so slightly, like a tiny little bit better. But it's not, because the crit is so low. The only way to find out really is to jump in and let's start actually using these things and hope for the best. After using them for a while, if I did put in Pistol Gambit, which is plus 120% crit chance, ignoring the primed version, because honestly that thing, okay, yes, it can be kind of useful, but it doesn't go that much higher. Even if, I can't remember exactly what it goes to right now, it's kind of bugging us. I think it was 160 or 165. Yeah, it still only takes it to roughly 38 to 40% crit chance, with a crit multiplier if you threw target cracker in of 3.2. yeah, that wasn't really that good of a build, so all I did is I threw in, it's not even a status build, it only took status to 50.1. I formatted 3 times, adding 2 Vs and a dash. I have Hornet Strike, Lethal Torrent, Barrel Diffusion, Magnum Force in there. I threw Bore and No Return in to get a puncture of 1097.6. Then finished it off with Jolt and Pistol Pestilence, which took the status chance up to 50.1. But, more importantly, added 588 corrosive damage to them. Not the greatest, because it didn't increase the fire rate or the reload that much, but really, I couldn't tell the difference between the two. I kind of like these ones more. The one thing I didn't like is they didn't spin in-game. Something that will probably be fixed or addressed shortly. I said that with the ball when that first came out, the ball prime. The middle bit didn't rotate, and it started rotating. Although, no, it wasn't that. It was something else that came out. And it rotated in the menus, but as soon as you got into the game, it didn't rotate.
Get ready for a capsule.
That was then, I wouldn't say soon after, but eventually that was fixed. So this will probably be fixed as well, but honestly, the difference between the two and the amount of time it takes to actually get a hold of this, It can be a pain considering the blueprint I do believe was Tower 4 mobile defense. Offhand, I don't actually have that up on the screen anywhere, so that is just a guess. I've already said where they drop and that will be in the description below.
Support capsule.
Visually they do look nice. There was a much quicker fire rate to them which was noticeable, but the loss of crit to these was questionable at best. Personally, I tend to go for status on most weapons unless they've got 25 or above crit chance anyway. So the build I have on it, even though it's not the best of builds, is probably what would have gone on it either way. Even if it had 20% crit, I still wouldn't have gone for a crit build on these. So noticing the difference, I didn't. Increasing the puncture damage using bore and no return did, however, make these things so much better. I tried it. It was once I put no return on, which added 60% to bore's 120%. That's when I started to notice a huge change in this weapon while leveling it up. And even though I still got 8 available points to change this build up, which I probably will do in time, the last former I put in is a bit of a waste. To be honest, you could have got away with 2. Having 4 Vs is kind of a waste. Should have been 3 Vs and 2 dashes. It's kind of the safety margin. It leaves 3 unpolarized slots for Ds or anything else you want to put in there, and you're not committing to having 4 Vs in a weapon anyway, but that's my own cock up. But I still like these weapons. They fire nice, they look really nice, but the only difference I can seem to come across is there is definitely a little bit of an increase in these, and when I say a little, I mean it's probably minuscule, but just the fact that they visually look so much better than the other ones did make it worthwhile to me. And unfortunately, though, I won't be retiring any secondary to start using these all the time, just simply because the area of effect of some of the other weapons is way better than these. So crowd control is much more manageable than this. This was still a really nice secondary weapon.